good afternoon, and thank you once again for joining us at the KRX Cafe. We have our first time repeat customer, I'm going to call you, here at the cafe. Doug Sorter joins me from Strive. And Doug, we've had a couple stories with Strive recently. You guys received some money from 2 local businesses, but you've got some breaking news you want to share with us. I don't want to take up your time. Let's get right to it. Tell us what the big
Logan,
news is.
I just appreciate you having me in, and you guys are always so generous with your time and availability. So we really thank you for that, because it's really important for us to get our word out, and you guys do a great job for us to do that. So we're big fans of KRX.
And likewise.
But we have a huge thing going on, I think. It's something that we've been working on for quite a few years, about 2 years as a matter of fact, and it's a social impact business. That's what it is, and I'm sure if you're not familiar, you will be after this. It's Alida'S Fruits is a great company here in town that does make some great products, and we purchased it October 1st, and we are in the process of learning how to make these different products, and all Farmer Bob's knowledge, he's going to help us with it for the rest of the time we're there, because he's guaranteed that he'll help us. But this is a perfect fit for what we do, and it's a perfect fit for our community and the surrounding area, because it really ties us into the agricultural business and the sophistication that they have in their fruit business. I mean, they have chocolate dipped fruits and cherries and the different salsas and jellies and jams and stuff, and it's just all things that are produced kind of labor intensive, but kind of repetitious type activities that our folks find very valuable in employment. So we have an opportunity for them to have really good jobs and working right alongside the people from the community doing the same thing. So it's an integrated workforce. They're making a great product, and it's going to produce some additional funding that we can put back into our mission and pay for some of the things where we have shortfalls. So that's why I call it a social impact business, because it has all the different things that you want to have that are going to help an organization like Strive, which is a really good brand name too, associated with Alida'S Fruits, and really be a powerful organization to really kind of help support itself, and plus find community and good paying jobs for the people that we support. So
that's one of the things that obviously you guys have done for a while now is put your population here into the community and get them engaged.
Right.
And obviously, the fruits and agriculture is very huge here. So how important is it to really take that next step into an even larger part of our community?
Well, it's a little scary, to be honest with you, because I've been talking about it so much that now that we're actually there, I'm like, oh my gosh, now we have to do it. So, but again, Farmer Bob's right there with us. And Alida, she's so sweet and helpful and stuff, and they really wanted to make it work too. So we're right there at 3402 Cena Half Road in their kind of their orchard out there, and we're working with them right now, learning all that stuff. But it's a huge endeavor. I will not say that it's not, but it's going to be just a really good one. I mean, I can see this being like the model of the type of things that should be done in areas like we have. So because you have the agriculture piece, like I said, you have the community that's going to be behind it. We have the products that are just wonderful. We have a wonderful organization like Strive that's being a part of it and the beneficiary of the proceeds. And I mean, it just ties all that stuff in, and we'll be able to showcase this thing to the other communities and say, look, this is how this should be. This is how this should look.
Yeah.
Because that integration piece is so instrumental in the growth of our folks and the growth of the community itself. Because our folks realize that they're just as capable as the folks in the community, and the community realize that they are just as capable. And then that growth and all that acceptance and that integration piece just starts that whole process that just makes life better for everybody involved. And I get really jazzed about that kind of thing, because that's what we're there for. That's
of course. How could you not? I mean, 2 years of planning to get this done. We're finally here. It may be too soon to tell, but what are all the different opportunities and jobs going to be for the Strive population?
Oh, geez, the jelly making, the salsa making, the cooking, the pies, the dipped fruits, the chocolates, the You know, and then you have just the regular kitchen duties. You have, you know, the dishwashing and all the different things that go with that too. So the sales out front, the retail piece, the running the cash register, the greeting the customers.
If Alida'S does it, Strive does it.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
If Lita does it, Alida'S does it, Strive does it, and all those job opportunities are available for our folks. Because I'm telling you, every one of those jobs is something that one of our folks could do and enjoy doing and feel really valued and have a good purpose. So that's, I get, the more I think about it, the more I'm like, wow, this is really good. But then I think, gosh, we got a lot to do.
Yeah,
So
I
I'm
can't tell
nervous.
if I'm excited because this is really cool for Strive or because I love the people from Alida'S. I was telling you earlier, they brought us some donuts at the Palisade Peach Festival because they were a couple booths away. So obviously they won my heart over with donuts. Easy thing to do. For anyone out there, you want to make me smile, donuts.
Exactly.
But now, we see them all the time at the different farmers markets.
Right.
Will you guys be out there as well,
You know,
lending a hand with the markets?
that's Farmer Bob's piece. He's the face, and Alida'S is the face of the organization, and Alida'S Fruits, and he's accepted that role wholeheartedly with us, and we want him to be a part of that because this is his baby and her baby, and we want them to be every bit a part of it as they want to be, and we certainly want to have them involved to as big a degree as they want to be, and they should be because it's their brainchild and everything that goes along with that. And Alida'S Fruits wouldn't be Alida'S Fruits without Farmer Bob and Alida.
Yeah,
so
of course.
we want to keep that same process. I've always said, don't mess with success. You know, if you start trying to change things and make them fit the different way, chances are you won't do that well. But if you kind of keep things the same as they are, and success has been there, and it has been for, I think, over 20 years, they've developed a really good business. So we want to keep them involved. And yes, Farmer Bob's going to be out at the farmers markets with his peach clothing on, and Alida will be there with her peach dress, and I've purposely asked them to help us to continue to do that, and they agreed they'd do it. So yes, we definitely want to have them involved.
Okay,
it's
well,
so
obviously
fun.
an even better reason to support a local business, knowing that it's going to help you guys out.
Exactly.
Talk about that a little bit. What is this going to do, knowing that you guys are going to have kind of, you know, something that's really steady instead of, you know, last week we talked about some businesses that were making donations where you guys know, hey, this is going to be consistent for us, you know, kind of take some of the more or less stress away from, you know, hey, how are we going to do this? How are we going to do this?
Yeah, you make a great point there, because, you know, we never know where our funding is going to be cut or increased or however that's going to look. So we really can't count on everything. You know, of course, to some degree we can, but with this, we know we can kind of rule our own demise or destination, if you want to call it that. Because if we do make a good product and we sell it and people find it to be valuable and they purchase it, and we can find different avenues to get it, let's say we get into the Kroger market and they start selling that throughout the western slope. I mean, the possibilities are endless, but that just puts us in a better position to, when we do have shortfalls in funding and we do have gaps in our funding, we'll be able to replace that with these funds that we have developed and the proceeds from these sales that will really bring it in. But that's one good piece. The other good piece is the jobs. We're taking folks that are dependent on different funding streams from the federal government and state governments, and they're actually going to be working and making a good wage, a living wage, and take them from being tax recipients to taxpayers. I mean, that's another huge piece. And I think, again, the more this grows and the bigger it gets, the more jobs are going to be available, that more people get to work. And I mean, it's just going to be I just love the idea of this thing. It's just going to be fantastic.
Yeah,
I can't wait till it gets all into place.
I think on a personal level for myself, I have a sister who lives on Social Security income due to unfortunate circumstances. But you know, there's a lot of people who won't give her a chance to work. Where, you know, Strive comes along, you guys are looking for people to give that opportunity to. And you know, I can't imagine how much it would put a smile on her face to say, my job, I go out and I get to make salsa from peaches, or I get to help with the peach, or you know, the peach cobbler, or help pick in the orchards. What kind of a feedback have you gotten from you know, some of your clients, more or less?
Well, it's hugely exciting, because they're looking at, wow, I have a good new job opportunity, and we're going through the same process of applications and interviews and all that same thing as you would do in the normal community, and they're applying for the jobs, and we're coming up with the ones that get it, and that gives them a whole new sense of value in themselves when they're chosen or they get the job. And we've already hired 3 people from our community to start working there. We have 3 others from the general community that are working there. So already we have that integrated workforce that's going to be able to see the benefits of both sides of that equation. And I mean, it's endless. I'm telling you, it's just endless, because the excitement just in our own little world of Strive is immense. I mean, everybody wants to be a part of it because they see, just like you do, they see the goodness that's going to come from this. So yeah, I'm just I can't wait for this thing to just get going and be everything that we hoped it to be. I have no doubt.
It's very easy to get excited about the prospects of what this is going to do. But let's take a step back.
Okay.
Tell us about how this all came together, where the idea came from, how you guys worked this out. I mean, you said it took 2 years. Obviously, it takes a lot of planning over 2 years to put something like this together.
It does, yeah.
So
it does.
What all went into this?
Well, the first step was that the Alida'S, I read in the paper that Alida'S was closing her store downtown, and we had a store downtown, and I thought, what a great thing to have in our stores to sell their products. So I went out to the stand at 3402 C Road, like I keep saying, and talked to Farmer Bob and Alida. I said, hey, we love your stuff. We would really like to sell it, and that gives us a product that we have that's tied to the community, and then we could sell it in our store. And it's really a good product. And so they said, sure, that'd be great. And as we learned about each other and they got more involved in knowing about us and what we do, they really like what we do. And who doesn't?
Yeah.
And so then I read in the paper again that they were getting ready to sell their business. And I thought, gosh, what an opportunity, because I had already been in the process of researching social impact businesses, going to some seminars, and looking at, I actually met with a couple of marketing groups that do social impact marketing, and they described what that should look like and how those things should happen, and the things you should have in place, and really did some good, I guess, first step field work before I came up with this particular piece. But then this happened to come out, and I think a lot of times it's divine intervention, because there's certain things in my life that happen and I just go, that's just not a coincidence. This has got to be. So they decided to sell their business. I read that in the paper and went out there and talked to them. I said, we're interested in this, and we're not sure about all the dynamics of this yet because we're brand new to all this kind of stuff, but we'd sure like to entertain that piece. So we worked through a lot of different things, and they really liked the fact that we were buying the business, that we were going to lease the area that the work gets done in, and they could stay in their home because they're an elderly couple and they didn't want to move, they didn't want to sell all their stuff. So that was intriguing for them. And then the other piece for us is that we didn't have to have so much capital to get into that thing, and we could still start reaping the benefits of the product. So going through that, working with our different boards and at Strive, and making sure everybody understood what we were doing and why we were doing it. And I developed a community group with the Doug Simmons and a couple other leaders in the community that have really good knowledge of that kind of processes. And we got together and went through the P&L and looked at all the stuff and went out there and visited it, and we all came to the assumption that this would be a good fit and we could do this stuff. So having that community members part of it too, again, is that whole piece. And then so we said, okay, let's go for it. So we started working on getting the papers drawn up and going back and forth with what Bob and Alida wanted, or Farmer Bob and Alida wanted, and what we needed out of the deal, and working along through that. And then finally, October 1st, everybody signed on the line, and I was like, yes, we got it. We were ready to go. And then I went, oh no, now we got to really do it. So,
easy to talk about,
yeah. It was a lot better just to talk about it, but no, it's going to be a lot of hard work. But I always say too, and I have a lot of these stupid little sayings that I say all the time, but nothing good comes easy. You got to work for things in there. And the more you work, the luckier you get. I always say that too. So the harder you work, the luckier you become. So it's just going to be a good deal. I've already seen the benefits of the wonderful smiles and the feeling of value and self-worth and confidence that comes from our population of folks that work there already, and how they enjoy being accepted in our community and having those kinds of jobs that others have, and they see themselves being just like the rest of the community, and they should, just like all of us do. We all want to be accepted, we all want to fit in, and I just can't stress that enough, that this is the greater good for the entire community when something like this comes about, and I'm just thankful that I'm able to be a part of it. And anyway, I'm really honored. So
I bet.
I get really kind of, but
well, how important is this to really start setting the trends to show, people who may think of, these different, people having disabilities, proving, hey, they're right on the same level. These are abilities. Just because someone's different doesn't mean they can't do the same job. How important is this sort of thing in the process?
I think that's big, because it's going to change the perception of that whole thing, because they're going to see what wonderful workers they are. I mean, their workers' comp is usually lower to a greater degree. Their absenteeism is much lower. Just those kinds of factors right there help businesses, and their production is just as good as anybody else's. So, I mean, when you have those kinds of, and they're a happy group. They're like me. That I love my job. So when I get there, I'm jazzed to be there. So everybody kind of feeds off of that, and they're the same way. So even the other employers, and we have like 80 people that work in the community right now, even they say, that's my best employee. That's the one I'd give the keys to for the business. And they just enjoy having them there. They're good workers. And I think that's just going to change that whole perception. The more of this we can do, the more and more businesses are going to look to them. And as the job market gets tighter and tighter, and there's less workers and more jobs, then I hope that we find that ability to get them into those other jobs that people would not normally think of our folks being a part of, but yet once they see this taking place, they can go, oh, we need to hire the guy from Strive or the gal from Strive, and we know that that's going to be great, because they've already been trained really well, and they know what their job, and they love to work. So just like everybody does, everybody wants to have a purpose. And
of
get
course.
a paycheck.
Of course. Now, what is this going to do as far as just kind of the business end of things? Are you guys going to almost have to expand the amount of people who you are servicing, or is this just kind of people are going to be able to shift around, and maybe people who are only had an option to work 20 hours a week now can suddenly work 40, or how is that going to affect the clients?
A little bit of all of that. We're hoping that it brings in more people into our workforce. We hope that the ones that are there that are working at a job currently that we do, if they want to do something different, because we're very person-centered, we want to provide opportunities and exposure to folks so that they can come up with what they want to do in life and how they want to do it. And then I think it's going to add more hours to the ones that want to get more hours. I think all those things, that's still a little ways down the road. As I said, we have 3 people working there now, and I don't know how much longer that's going to go on before we start going more and more. But we don't want to go too fast and jack things up either.
Of course.
But I think all those possibilities are going to be available once we get our solid footing, I would say.
Yeah,
we're
obviously
like
you got to take this
right
slow a
now.
little bit and really get your feet
yeah.
underneath you.
But yeah, I think those things are, each and every one of those we just talked about will be available, and to what degree, sky's the limit in my opinion. I'm always the perpetual optimist anyway, though. So yeah, it's good.
Now, obviously, there's a lot to be excited about here. But what do you think is the most important piece of all this coming together?
I think it will be, currently or in a little ways down the road. So a little ways down the road, the important piece I think is going to be that we have a business that's running very well, that is supporting individuals with developmental and intellectual disabilities, and they're thriving. I mean, that when you have that kind of vision or that kind of exposure in the community, people can see that and they can understand it very easily, and they can latch onto that and say, I want to be a part of that, because people always want to be a part of the winner. It's like a bandwagon jumper. But I think that's going to be a great piece. They're actually going to know about it. It'll heighten our awareness, and it'll put us in a really good light to showcase how special and how everyday actual our folks are, and to the degree of everyone else, and we can find that. But I think that's my biggest joy that will come out of this once we get to that point where people can go, yeah, Strive, that's where those guys will do a great job over there at making that fruit, but they don't ever mention the piece about they have a developmental disability. It's just a great business that runs over there, and they got some great workers. And then there's
soon that won't
no
even
difference.
be a topic.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just,
yeah.
let's go to
It'll be
Alida'S.
just let's go to Alida and get some fruit. Those guys are great over there.
Yeah.
They're hard workers. You know, just that kind of stuff.
Okay. Are you already seeing that with some of the other things that you guys are able to do? And this is just going to be that bigger piece of the puzzle or a bigger piece of the pie?
Yeah, exactly. Though, you know, the store downtown, of course, is the one of the ones we have. The Botanical Gardens is another great piece where a lot of people get to see it. And of course, our wood shop. It's just everybody that has gotten a product from our wood shop is introducing it to our friends, and we have a standing list of orders for those cornhole boards that we make. And I get calls, even I get calls on, hey, can you help me get some cornhole boards? I'm like, what are you trying to jump in front of the line or what? You know, they're trying to put some pressure on us. And then those Adirondack chairs and stuff that they make there. So yeah, we have some degree of that already, of course. But I just think the bandwidth that Alida'S has already. I mean, it's in 48 states. I got a really great guy that used to own the paper here, Daily Sentinel here, that lives in Cape Cod. His name is Ken Johnson. He contacted me when this was all going on. He says, you got to do this. This is the best. And he flew in from Cape Cod to talk to me about what needs to be done.
Really?
And yeah, he's just a great guy. And I emailed him just the other day and said, hey, Ken, we did it. And he's like, great, we got this. You know, so it's just that kind of, that more and more of that knowledge. I can see it generating a lot of interest already. And this is the first time I've really gone out and really kind of promoted the whole thing, so or talked about it.
Yeah.
Even. So even just the casual conversation is getting this very uplifting and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just thinking about the ability for you guys to raise awareness to what you're doing, just the Peach Festival alone, how many people were walking through every single row of vendors, they're going to see that if they have a second to find out what Alida'S is about and then find out what Strive is about. You know, suddenly, you know, all those perceptions are gone, and sudden, you know, we're taking Strive national sort of thing.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
You know, everyone's,
Wouldn't that be
they're
cool?
bringing peaches back to Idaho. They're bringing peaches back to Oklahoma, Texas, wherever they're from. Oh, I got these from Alida'S. You know, you wouldn't believe where I got this salsa from. Let me tell you a story about it.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I see that. I see all that happening. And then just in our own community, again, we want to keep that community piece about it. When our corporate businesses, we've already gotten some orders from them. They want to have our products sent to their different customers all over the place. And in there, they put a little card about Alida'S and what we're doing now, because they wanted to say, hey, we want to talk about what this is when we're giving out our gift to our good customers. And this is a great gift that we've found to be really valuable. But it tells the story of Grand Junction and how progressive Grand Junction is in their efforts in doing great things, and they want to be a part of that, and they want to tout that as a business of theirs. That's why I live here, and here's why, and that kind of stuff. So we're already seeing some degree of that already, and again, we're just getting started. We've been into it 1 month, and we're seeing that kind of stuff. So I have no doubt that this is going to be just one of those things that we just are so proud of in our community, and everybody just kind of is excited about it. So
of course. Yeah, a lot to be excited about. Yeah, my cheeks hurt because I've been smiling ever since you told me that this was something that we were possibly going to be talking about.
Yeah.
You know, a few months back when you said, hey, I don't want to do anything yet,
Yeah.
you know. And
I wasn't sure yet.
Yeah, no, of course. Of course you don't want to count your chickens yet. But this is great news for Strive, great news for Mesa County, Grand Junction, Alida'S.
Yes.
I really appreciate you breaking this news here. This is just, it's so nice to know that you think highly of us enough to share that information with us. Something we're obviously going to want to follow up on. Maybe even get a couple of our employees that need a good kick in the butt, get them out working on the farms with you.
Sure, that'd be great.
With you guys out there.
Teach them how to make some jellies.
Yeah, they'll probably want the recipe.
Yeah.
I can
I don't know about getting the recipe. Hold on a second.
No, all right, that's fine. That's fine. You don't need the recipe, but I'd love to be able to send a few of us out there, spend some time, and really see what this is all about, because it just sounds so great right off the bat.
Cool.
And again, only a month in.
Yep. I know, we're there. Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing us on. I really, really appreciate the time.
No, thank you. Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
You're going to have to come back. I was told there was going to be a present and gifts for you. I'm assuming we're going to have to go get our own donuts. So,
there you go. Yeah. I'll bring some Alida'S fruits in, and we can try that stuff. It's just fantastic. The snow-covered cherries.
I'll take it.
Oh my
I'll take
God.
it. Doug, thank you so
Delish.
much.
You're welcome, Logan.
Doug Sorter,
Thank you.
Strive. Now they own Alida'S fruit shop.
Yeah.
Wonderful news there.
Yeah.
And thank you, of course, to Joe Reed team at Remax. And thank you for watching KRX Cafe.
I know, Joe.